Hi folks, today we're going to run through loading 4570 government rounds. This is a finished product and we're using a Lee loading set. This was the anniversary kit, not the most expensive on the market, but very simple, very strong and robust. Will handle some big loads. Okay, first things first, we have I'm using one of the cases today. New cases, so they don't need to go through a tumbler. Obviously if you'd fired your case you would need to put it through either an ultrasonic or a tumbler, and they'll come without your primer in. First tool we've got is the case length trimmer. Pretty simple setup. You'll get your trim gauge, this is the length that the case should be, and you'll get a holder. I found the easiest way to do this. Just put the holder in a cheap screwdriver, put the shell in the holder, insert and turn clockwise. You will see brass cuts coming off that case. When it's finished cutting, that's the right length. Careful when you're using this, because these edges here are machined very sharp and you will be heading for a plaster if you catch them on your fingers. So when that's finished cutting, it's the correct length. So I don't need to measure that, as that is bang on. Now if it was a used case, you can see the point of that will protrude through there and rest nicely on the plate inside the holder. If it was a used case, you'd have to get the primer out first. Okay, the next job I'm going to do with this is just take off these sharp edges that the length trimmer's just created. You'll also get one of these in your kit. It only takes one turn. That's trim the outside, turn it over, turn clockwise again. You'll feel it cut, and that's trim the inside. You can see the shine now where it's tapered that edge off. What that'll also mean is it's a lot cleaner as we're putting the bullet in, or putting the bullet head in. Okay, at this point we now want to size the actual outside diameter of the case. As I say, brand new, but if you come to your sizing die, it's a tight fit. You can use this with a fired case, because the pin at the bottom will push the old primer out. So it's just a case of putting that in. You want it set. I'm going to put a little air lube on this, just around the outside of it so it doesn't drag. You want it set so a gentle push takes the shell all the way up inside it, and then release. Okay, what you will end up with now is a case that's going to go into the chamber of your rifle nice and easily. Each time you fire that, the heat will, without a shadow of a doubt, increase its outside diameter again. So resize. These Lee loaders come with a quick change collar inside there. I've chosen not to spend the extra money to buy 2 or 3 of them, and I'm happy with that. But you can, and that just means one turn and that's out. I can just set these and I can put a little tiny mark with a black marker on the back of the lock nut, and I know what size I'm after. Do check them every now and again. Okay, the next part of the process is, as you can see, the round is a very tight fit in that we can slightly open up the neck using the opening die. Once again, this has been set, so the opening die inside there goes down about 8mm into the top of the shell and just opens it up, so it's a bit easier to get the bullet head in. Once again, into the holder and just gently up. You'll just feel it and possibly hear it going up onto the sizer, and what you'll find now is that the case will actually begin its journey just by hand into there, which it wouldn't do before. Okay, so we've got a clean, resized blue length case with the end splayed over and the sharp burrs cut off. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a large rifle primer into the primer hole. Right, your kit will come with large rifle primer holder and a small rifle primer holder. Pretty self-explanatory really. The bigger one holds the bigger primer, smaller one the smaller primer. What we do with that connects to the side with it in an elevated position and lies onto the side of the tube on the press. Your primers are loaded into this. As that's sat facing you and hooked on, your actual explosive should be facing you. So red side out, you give them all a tap and they'll start to go down the loading tube. Once that's in the up position, clip your feeder over the top, move away, and you'll see in there now your primer's ready for pushing in. Hold it down, not too much pressure, and you'll feel yourself pushing your primer in. What we're looking for is the primer being just slightly countersunk from the top. Not too much, because then you'll get a weak strike and the round won't go off, and certainly not protruding. We don't want to be getting into areas like that. Okay, so cleaned, sized, lengthed, primer in. The next job is the powder. Your set will come with the scales. I find them a nightmare. Some people enjoy using them. Comes with a hopper. There's a calibration on the side of the hopper that measures by volume, not weight. What I want to do is I want to go by weight, so I just purchased a nice cheap set of weighing scales. I've managed to set this, I'm aiming for 35 grains in these loads, so I've set this so that exactly 35 grains is coming out when you first get this. Do a full cycle so that you can fill all the little nooks and crannies with the powder. Okay, so that's set at bang on 35 grains, which means that now I can put the shell underneath it, wind it back, little tap, and then slowly forward, little tap, and me powder's in my shell. Give it a little tap on there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to check that every 10. If I don't check it every 10, there may be deviations, there may be a little bit more, a little bit less coming out. So every 10 loads I'm just going to empty one of them into a hopper onto the scales and check I'm still on the right weight. Once we're at this point, we then use the bullet head loader. Now this is important because what we're aiming for, I'm using digital calipers here, is exactly 2.550 overall case length with the head in. That means that the bullet, when pressed, should be a perfect fit in that caliper. You can see that one. If I want it to be fussy, I'm going to discard. I'll get the kinetic hammer out on it and reload it, because you're probably looking at a mil out. So we're ready for exactly 2.550 inch. Bit of trial and error when you first get this. You've got your major adjustment on your lock nut, and you've got your minor adjustment on your finer threaded nut at the top. Take your primer loader out, put it to one side, put your round that's now got the powder in into your loader, put your head on. The blue is your lube. So I'm just going to go in, I'm going to back that off just a little bit so I can show you your actual setting process. So I've come up probably 4 mil there. I'm just going to push it in a bit, all the way to the bottom, and lock it. Take it out. You can see we're well over length there. We've not even buried the gas seal on that one. Okay, if you want to measure this, you can, but there's nothing wrong with just a little tiny bit of adjustment there. I've wound that in. Press again. I know that's still over length. Okay, a little bit more. Once you've done this your first time, obviously you can mark this and you don't have to do it again. And you'll have to set this for every type of round that you load. Okay, tiny bit more, and I'm happy with that setting. So we've got a target of 2.550 inch. We're absolutely bang on at 2.550 inch. You might have a little bit of swarf around the top. You can just peel that off with your thumbnail. Some people save it, I don't bother. Now what we've got is a 35 grain, 405 grain head, 45-70 government round, ready for fun. Big bang, nice recoil, wouldn't like to be at the other end of it. Hope you found this helpful. Safe reloading, and a bit of advice would be, don't listen to people in pubs. Read the data, read the powder loading specifics, look at the ballistics, and make sure your gun, these will be going in a Ruger #1, make sure your gun can handle the bigger loads. 45-70 was designed for 70 grains of black powder. Do not try and squeeze 70 grains of nitrous into them. Have fun. Goodbye. Thank you.